It's me, Geordie Pete Redding on Soccer Saturday, and him, Kevin Campbell. It's Saturday, so it means it's Soccer Saturday. It means it's Hollywood Balls. And what a week it's been. Perhaps the most impressive stat is that Harry Maguire has the most blocks in Premier League history this week. Sadly for Harry, that's on Twitter. Welcome to Soccer Saturday. It is welcome to Hollywood Balls. Before we start, I just want to check that we've got sound in Switzerland. Charlotte, are you with us?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Hooray!
Yay.
We are on.
Finally.
We are on. Brilliant. Okay, welcome to Hollywood Balls. Coming up on today's show, we're going to preview most of the weekend's big action where we can. City and Spurs. Palace host Chelsea as well. We're going to check in with Kev on Van der Beek's Everton early career because he's going very well as well. We'll have Baller of the Week and DK Hot Sauce. And of course, our guest. We're one down, but we're going to blame Eunice. What we do have is Charlotte and Kev in the house. Kev, how are you?
I am absolutely fantastic, Pete. I feel brilliant, and it's good to be back. I've got to tell you.
It's a fortnight. It feels like a month. The bromance was put on hold for 2 weeks, and a big welcome to a girl I've been chasing for months on the show. Let's get that right. It's a big welcome, Charlotte. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Very well, very well. Excited to.
Hi, Charlotte. Hi.
We're going to get into
nice
this,
to meet
Kev.
you, Kevin.
Because she's got such a great story, and again is from just around the corner from me back home. So it's going to be great to have Charlotte on board. Don't forget, today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, the #1 men's grooming company. They have 20% discount if you use your Hollywood Balls code. Use that and you'll get. Go on,
Pete. Eunice has got dandruff.
Eunice has got
It's snowing now.
Everyone. Eunice has got a hold of everyone. I think she's got our other guest, Andy Gray, is expected. We hope he can make it and join us. If not, it's the three of us. We're going to start with you, ladies first, Charlotte. Now, before we get into your career, you're on the line to us from Switzerland. So, a new move for you, but it's been a bit fraught, hasn't it, the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about snow. I was injured when I first got here. And you know what it's like when you recover from injury and you're so eager to train. Yep. Well, the first day I was ready to join in the whole session, it snowed.
Right.
So training got delayed another day. I was like, ah!
And I've got to ask you, because it's a fascinating move for you, because in your career, which we're going to concentrate on, Sunderland and the North East has played a large part. So I've got to ask you, how did this move come across? Because it's a fascinating story.
I'll be completely honest. Just
being
on a part-time wage, I was still living at home with my parents, and I mean, as you're getting older, you can't stand. You want your own independence.
Sure.
It was getting a little bit too much for me. And for my parents.
Switzerland's a bit steep.
I could sense their stress. Oh, it's so peaceful.
So you've gone for the peace, the peace and the quiet.
Absolutely.
But let's wind it back though. How did you get into football? Because again, you're a Northeast lass, and you've time and time again you've turned out for Sunderland, you've turned out for Gateshead as well. Gateshead College have been there. You've turned out for Hibernian. You've got a fantastic CV. Where did it all begin, and how did you get into the game?
I was only 4 years old, and my mum and dad started a team for me because they had their own grassroots club.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, they had like numerous teams. My brother played for one of them. And obviously, me being 2-3-year-old, always going to the games with the ball at my feet. As soon as I could walk, I could kick a football.
Brilliant.
So
Absolutely.
they were like, right, we need to start a team for you. And I played boys football growing up, and I'll be honest, I didn't even want to go into girls' football.
Yeah, because when you look at your description, Charlotte, it's combative, isn't it? So it's defensive, it's centre back or midfield. So you relish all that, don't you?
Oh, I relish the aggressiveness, and I think like sometimes I don't necessarily get that aggressiveness from girls' football. I mean, I was watching West Ham. I was watching a clip against West Ham and Leicester women, and there was 3 defenders surrounding one player with the ball, and all 3 of them looked like they were scared to just go in and get the ball. And I'm thinking like they were all within 1 meter.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes it's not even just about like going in and making a tackle. I think it's just about having that strong presence to make sure that they don't want to keep the ball.
Sure.
And it just
Were you
it
like
drove me
this?
crazy watching that. Oh, I would
hit her.
Yeah, exactly. Get close, arm up in their face, make them scared of you.
You could probably play at West Ham Stadium this afternoon. We're a couple of men down. So, Kev, great to have you back. I said at the start of the show about Harry Maguire. All joking aside, though, again, it's Man United, so people are going to speculate. The fact that he came out on Twitter and said what he said, I think, as Ralph Rangnick, I watched his presser yesterday, and he was fantastic. He just said, look, he's come out for a reason. He said what he said. Can we move on? This is Manchester United. That should be an end of it. But it's not with the press, is it?
It won't. It won't be the end of it, Pete. Look, what we have seen is Manchester United in a little bit of disarray. For the talent that they've got in that squad, they should be challenging right at the very top of the league. They're not. And obviously, you know what the press are like. The press, when things aren't going well, you start to hear the leaks. There's moles, there's leaks, there's all sorts coming out of Manchester United at the moment. And this is just another thing that they could put another line in the water and see if they can get something. I don't think it's got any legs, but for Harry Maguire to even come out and have to say that on Twitter, and Ralph Rangnick have to answer questions about it, you know it's gonna rage on.
And again, a colleague, dropping names, but it was sort of it had legs because Gary Neville got on the back of it as well, and he's well respected in the game as a pundit and as a former Man United player. So people are saying, well, if Gary Neville says it's happening, then so I think a little bit of mischief as well, but it's a story that they'll literally be so thankful for to get on the pitch this weekend and try and dispel that.
Yeah, they'll be happy to get on the pitch. But the thing is, when Gary Neville says stuff, he doesn't name any names. So then, obviously, the press can go and have go crazy, can't they? They could just
pick it out of hat.
Just say what they want. You know what it's like. It's crazy. But yeah, United getting back on the pitch, this is where they're most comfortable.
Good stuff. So, Charlotte, from having created your own team for you to play that holding role in as a young'un, what was the next step? How did your career progress?
I was obviously forced into girls' grassroots football, and we played against teams every week, and we used to smash them like 20-0. And that team that we had, that grassroots girls, all just dispersed and went into academy football. And there was 6 of us went to Newcastle Academy, and 1 went to Sunderland. And
right,
I was only at Newcastle Academy 1 year, and then I went to Sunderland Ladies when I was 15. And that was kind of at the time when like Lucy Bronze, Demi Stokes, they were that was at the time where Jordan Nods, like they were all starting to go down south.
Right. And did you find that the level in sort of facilities and training different between Newcastle and Sunderland, or was it much of a muchness?
We used to use where Northumbria University play for Newcastle. And then when I went to Sunderland Women, we were like in between Gateshead Stadium and like just random grass pitches in Sunderland. So it's crazy thinking you're going for pre-season for Sunderland Women and you're playing in a local grass, like just on a local grass pitch.
And do you think though,
Pete, I tell you what, it sounds like me going to Leyton Orient. That's what it was like at Leyton Orient when I was there. Professional, Charlotte. It was like the local park pitch. It was crazy.
But sometimes that's fun though, because it just makes you feel like a kid again.
Yeah. Avoid all the dog mess. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. But you think about it. I mean, this sort of last 6 months, Charlotte, where the women's game's been in the spotlight, quite rightly so as well. So with it being on the TV, with it being on our screens again, firstly with BT and Sky, hopefully that will put this sort of issue to bed, because it's great to watch, and we'd be watching it regularly on here. So hopefully that will help it, won't it? Help its profile.
Absolutely, and I think we kind of need to support the championship a little bit more now too,
Yeah,
because again, we've got the Continental Cup where we play against Super League teams, but I mean, at Sunderland, we were going into games on an evening where like the whole squad have just been to work the whole day,
sure.
because it's like there was only 4 of us on part-time contracts, and it's like we're playing against full-time professional outfits, and we were competing also, by the way. I mean, we beat
Yeah,
Liverpool in the Continental Cup. But like you can't have that amount of pressures in life and still haven't been expected to go into the game and perform to your absolute best.
balance.
It just wasn't right. There was no balance there at all.
I'll come back to you, because I want to touch on sort of who your sort of mentors and who you look to shape your game on, and it's fascinating. I love that. But Kev, we've got early game. Is my beloved Newcastle United. They're at West Ham, and of course, in true Newcastle tradition, everything's going swimmingly. 2 wins on the bounce since we saw you. Everything's great, hunky dory. Bam! Kieran Trippier's out, possibly till the end of the season. Only at Newcastle.
Well, no, it's not just at Newcastle, but
Feels
these
like it.
things, these things do happen, Pete.
Yeah,
A metatarsal is, I think it was Beckham who made the metatarsal famous, wasn't it? And
it was. Yeah,
and you look at Trippier, he's been nothing short of fantastic since he's been at Newcastle. He's a leader, he's captain as well. So to lose him, I think is a big challenge for Newcastle. But I think they're going to be all right. I think Newcastle have got the bit between their teeth, and the coaching of Eddie Howe is translating to the players. That's really important. And you look at the way they're set up, you look at the way they've got results, etc. Even kept a clean sheet with a little bit of luck from your mate VAR. Really helps, doesn't it?
That was close, and of course, you're sitting there waiting. It's part of the new game now, isn't it? It's part of the fans' experience. It's part of the players' experience. There's always that. Either you're waiting on tenterhooks to see what the decision is, or you're thinking, "Oh, that's it," and then you get a nice surprise. Staying with the Northeast, Charlotte. I mean, I know that you've got black and white blood as well, Newcastle. So I wanted to touch on Sunderland though, because it's been, as someone that knows Kevin Ball and has been involved with Sunderland a long time, it's been a poor week for Sunderland Football Club, hasn't it? I mean, the news that came out about the shareholders and the owners and on all of this confusion, that turns out that the previous owners are still involved as major shareholders. And if that wasn't bad enough, a club legend of 30 years is just allowed to leave this week. It couldn't be any worse, really, from a PR perspective.
I know. Well, it tells you something, doesn't it, when someone of that who's involved that much in the club leaves. Really sad, but.
And a message, Kevin, as well, to say that our thoughts are with him. 30 years, Kevin. I mean, not just a legend on the pitch, but so much for the club as a whole. He's Mr. Sunderland.
Yeah, he embodied so much about the football club. Obviously, played for the club, captained the club. Was a warrior in the midfield. Great lad as well. Kevin Ball. You cut him and he bleeds the black and white stripe. But these owners, modern day owners they're not like the owners of old. All this sentimental stuff, you could see they don't care. And maybe there was a little bit of conflict there, because maybe that coming out made Kevin Ball question certain things going on at the club.
And again, we said, I mean, it's 2 weeks since you were with us, Kevin. We were saying last week and the week before, this whole Roy Keane scenario as well played out really badly for them, because at the end of the day, they played it out in public. There was laughing and joking on Sky Sports, for goodness sake. Roy Keane, they said, "Have you joined Sunderland yet?" And it was a nod and a wink. And I mean, to be played out like that, then obviously Roy saying no to the job. They bring in another manager, and then off the back of that, it's just a disaster, really, for the fans.
PR disaster, but unfortunately, Pete, this type of thing tends to follow Sunderland. You know, there's controversy. If it isn't this, there's transfer issues, and obviously opportunities to go up in the league, and they don't take it. It's been a disaster at times. What they need to do, the best thing they could do, Pete, is concentrate on the football and try, because they've got a chance to go up either automatic or through the playoffs. That's the best thing they can do at this moment in time, because you can't wait for the people upstairs to help out.
And I'm saying, you know, people, obviously I'm a Newcastle fan, and I get we laugh and joke about my bias, but I mean, for a club of that size, it's not acceptable. One, trying to look for a positive for them, what I would say is that in Alex Neil, I think they've actually got a really, really good manager, a good coach who could, you know, help batter them out of that league, which is what they need. Maybe Roy Keane was a little bit sort of bit of romance that he'd been at the club before, but anyway, we move on.
Speaking of manager, Pete. He's a capable manager.
Yeah. Speaking of fierce midfielders, Charlotte, tell us who your sort of hero was growing up that you looked at and thought, yeah, that's my game.
I've got a few actually that I admire, but obviously when I was really, really young, Steven Gerrard, just
brilliant.
It's his mentality. I mean, I still get shivers actually thinking about that cup final at Istanbul.
Yep.
Like, just
the mindset. He drove them. Is that what you look at as well? Because, you know, following you on social media, when you're playing, like, you live that game beforehand. You're keyed up massively. When you come off, everyone. What I love about it is you wear your heart on your sleeve, because you'll come off and say, okay, not the result we wanted today, but we've got an opportunity straight away. You're very bullish, and you're very sort of, you know, grabbing everyone together and saying to that team, come on, we've got to go again. Is Gerrard give you that?
I'm not too sure. I think it's just like having a career that's had so many twists and turns that it's just installed that mindset that you just got to give it your all, and you got to drag people to your level.
And
can I ask Charlotte a question?
Yeah, of course.
Charlotte, do you? There's a question. You know, your mentality, your toughness. Do you put it down to playing with boys from an early age? Because it is so much different playing with boys than girls.
Yes, probably. And I think if I look back to my childhood, it's obviously I've had a lot of difficulties with bullying, with everything. So it's just like I've always used sport as kind of like my release to get rid of all my anger. And I had difficulties with emotional control as a teenager, and that translated into my game when we went into the Super League with Sunderland. And I'm not sure if Carlton Fairweather identified that was an issue. And it really made me delve deep into those emotions, and spending time to be able to control them now. I can like almost step onto the pitch with a controlled aggression.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? Yeah. That's well done for that anyway.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Thank you.
Massive progress. And you had a spell as well with Hibernian. I was going to ask you, speaking of the challenges on the pitch, how did the Scottish game compare to that in back at home in the Northeast? Was it of a similar standard, or?
You know, I used to get this question all of the time when I was up in Scotland, and it's almost difficult to compare when you're in that environment. It's when you step away and you reflect on it, you know the differences. And I think the intensity was a lot quicker than the Championship.
Right.
But it wasn't quite Super League, if that makes sense.
Like a little bit of lack of quality, but the intensity was there.
Intensity was there, but the fine details and the tactical understanding wasn't there. So, and I think that's kind of similar to the men's side of it as well. If you compare the men's Scottish Premier League, the English Premier League.
But Hibs were big hitters in Scotland, aren't they? You know, quite a celebrated team as well.
Yeah, and I think they've got plans going forward now as well, which is only going to develop the Scottish game for the women, which they deserve.
Good stuff. Kev, we touched on West Ham and Newcastle. Another there's huge big games this weekend, but the other standout obviously is Tottenham have to go to Man City. All the best with that. Literally, Ali Khaled said on our show last week that it's the law now that Manchester City score 3 or more. Not great timing for Conte and Spurs. And I listened to him yesterday, and I listened to his press conference, Kevin. He was basically saying that people have to understand that English isn't his first tongue, and when he says what he says, that they have to they have to bear with him, which is fair enough. But he also said as well that he looked at himself and said maybe he wasn't wise to be giving interviews to the Italian press as well. Now, what you've just said before about our press with Gary Neville feeding them a line and then them making their own stories, I think this has had a lot to play in what's happened with Conte and how he's been portrayed, shall we say, in the press this week.
Yeah, look, I think managers have to really be very careful, especially as a foreign manager. You don't want to alienate your own media in Italy, do you? You know, you want to definitely engage with
tell
them.
them what's happening
You
and how it's
want
going.
to engage with them, and you don't want to leave them out. But you know, you have to box clever. Listen, Antonio Conte has done the dance many a time. He's he's a world-class manager who knows what he's doing, Pete. Trust me. So the fact of the matter is, he can communicate perfectly well in English. Let me tell you that. See, he can. But whenever things start to get a little bit difficult, then he can use, you know, it's difficult to communicate in English. That guy's a very smart guy. He's a winner. That's one thing we do know, Pete. He is a winner. And listen, given the chance and given money, given time, he can get it right. The problem is, will he get it at Spurs?
Will he get the time? Big pressure on, as we say, you know, we know about Spurs. We say it week in, week out. World-class manager, world-class stadium, world-class centre forward. Excuse me, but can they do it? What do you think about him saying that Pep is the best in the world currently?
I think he's right. I think Pep has proven over the years to be as consistent as anybody, winning more trophies probably than anybody. There's one trophy that eludes him at Man City, and that's the Champions League, obviously. But they look to have the bit between their teeth this season again. You know, going into a midweek game and at Sporting and winning 5-0. They're just a juggernaut at the moment, aren't they? So, you know, people could have an argument and say Klopp's been there as well. But I think Pep's won more trophies than Klopp.
Charlotte, tell us about, you know, this career path, but it's sort of intrinsically linked at times that with so many spells coming back to Sunderland. This last move, I mean, you've said, you know, a lot of it is personal reasons and to branch out for you. Sunderland, though, as a club, will always have a special place in your heart, right? Because you're a big part of them and they're a big part of you.
Absolutely, and I think like they've taught me so much. That was almost like my school.
Yep.
So now I'm well equipped to go and explore elsewhere with what they've taught me.
What's the first challenge? I mean, obviously fitness. I know that you were training yesterday. How good was it to be back into that fold?
Well, I played a friendly this week. I had 60 minutes, and it was my first game since the 15th of December. And obviously, it's the first time in full-time football now, as well as on the back of an injury. And I've had a really, really intense week training. I've also had 2 boxing sessions. I feel like I've been hit by a bus.
So, welcome back, so to speak.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think everyone's surprised almost at my at my fitness. It's just obviously I'm not robust as I should be yet. But that'll come.
Give that time. Is all I can say to the opponents. Give that time.
Are you near Charlotte? Are you near any mountains?
Yes. So I can't exactly. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take the laptop outside, right? And I'll show you the view.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they see.
Whoa.
the air, they get up in the mountains. I've done.
Wow.
Listen, Pat Rice had us running up them mountains at one stage when I was there.
Well, I've been injured, so I haven't been able to do that yet, but I can't wait.
I knew that was
Brilliant.
coming from Kev when he said, "Are there
Yeah.
any mountains
Rice,
out there?" That was your next one. Yeah,
Rice.
we have to do that story one day, Kev. We've got to do that story. Okay, now speaking of combative midfielders, Kev, I wanted to touch on Donny van de Beek. He's looked like he's never been away from Everton. And I just can't. And I know it doesn't always work at some clubs for you players, but it's just mind-boggling how it didn't work out at Man United, and he slots straight into Everton. I mean, United's loss is the Toffees' gain, isn't it?
Yeah, look, Pete. It's not as if it didn't work out at Manchester United. He never even got a chance.
No.
You know, he never got a chance. So if you don't get a chance to play, then nothing's going to work. So we've seen him play at Ajax in that great young team. We think he's a quality player. Manchester United signed him. Everyone's thinking, wow, they've signed a really good player. Don't get a chance. I watched him last week. I done the game for TalkSport, and him and Allen in midfield were absolutely outstanding. First half, Donny van de Beek was just he was immense. I'm telling you. Second half, the level dropped a little bit, but he was still quality. Real good player, real good signing. Getting him on loan from Manchester United, and hopefully, I'm sure Frank Lampard's going to try and secure that signing because, wow, what a player he is. And
it's great to see the Everton fans buzzing again, aren't they?
Oh, I mean, listen, let me tell you something. Goodison Park was absolutely bouncing.
How loud was it?
It was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. It was bouncing the week before for the Brentford game.
Yeah.
And last week it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Scored another bag full of goals, and the team are looking strong. So, Frank's making a real difference.
Good stuff. So a friendly under your belt, 60 minutes, Charlotte. Training, mountains to come as courtesy of Kev. What's your target sort of for the next 4 to 6 weeks then?
Well, I'm playing holding mid again, so I think I'm going to get the chance to showcase what I'm about a lot, because sometimes when I'm at centre back, I mean, especially at Sunderland when we didn't necessarily have a lot of possession, I felt so restricted in what I could do and what I could show. I almost feel like this temporary contract, like this temporary move, is sort of like a pit stop to be able to explore what's going to happen next.
Are you sort of like honing your?
Yeah, I truly don't believe that I've had opportunities yet to showcase, like what you said, what I'm actually truly about. So
watch this space, is it? Watch this
space.
What,
Pete? You know what, Charlotte? One thing I will say: sometimes it's about the fit, isn't it? It's about the fit. Where you've got to find somewhere that actually where you fit and what they fit you.
Yeah.
Recognize what you're good at. Recognize what you bring to the team, and then, you know what, we'll have some of that. Definitely. It's. I think that's really important. So you go and get your fitness, and Pete will keep an eye on Charlotte and see what she's up to. Definitely.
Absolutely. I'm expecting at least 3 videos next week of you at the top of the mountain. That's a prerequisite. And we'll put them out on our social media channels.
I mean, it's a huge challenge here, by the way, because this team, they've never won a game in 4 months. And I mean, that's including friendlies against teams from the league below. And we won our first game, my friendly this week.
There you go.
The energy from the team, it was just buzzing. And I mean, it's been very frustrating being injured and watching training and knowing the mindset that I can give to the other players.
You can bring.
Yeah. And finally, I was like, finally, I got the chance to do that.
Great, absolutely brilliant. As we said, we will keep tabs on it. Someone I've been keeping tabs on this season, Kev, is your old mate Patrick Vieira. What a great
legend.
There you go, other legend.
Yes.
What a job he's doing off the pitch as well, isn't he? With Crystal Palace, who look, shall I say, it's one of those fixtures where I look at that now and go, I don't fancy that, because he's got them playing and they're organised.
Full of energy, really good in the midfield. He's got them biting and chomping, just like Charlotte probably is, getting to the ball. That Conor Gallagher, I think he's going to be a star, that
Yeah.
youngster. I think he's done an absolutely fantastic job with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are up there. He's developing players, Pete, and he's giving youngsters a chance as well. And listen, I think it's not going to be an easy game for who's it, Chelsea today. It's not an easy game for Chelsea today, I tell you.
Connor can't play today, though, can he? Parent club rule.
No, I'm just saying he's been a
part of
catalyst
that process. Yeah, sure.
He's a catalyst in that midfield and stuff like that. So look, I think Vieira's done a great job. It wouldn't surprise me if Crystal Palace took some points off Chelsea today. I'll be honest with you.
We can see that as well. Got to give a shout out to Paul Jerry. He's dropped in for a few minutes. He's off to the best stadium in the northeast. 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗆 we're away, mate. Listen, he's off to see Sunderland. Massive Sunderland fan is Paul. Great lad as well. Big supporter of Hollywood Balls. Have a great day. Hope the result is... I can't really lie, can I say that? Let's hope you're not too disappointed. Again, speaking of your route, Charlotte, I mean, did you get ribbon from your pals when because you are a Magpie as well? So did you get ribbon playing for the Red and Whites? All good natured, of course.
When I was just starting to go into the Sunderland team, yeah. I mean, I used to want to wear my Newcastle strip underneath my Sunderland gear. Do you know what the worst one was? I had a next door neighbour who was the biggest Sunderland fan ever. He's Sunderland crazy, and every time I walked out with a Sunderland kit on when I was first starting to play for them, he used to celebrate, and I used to think, oh no.
Brilliant. It's amazing, and Kev, you know. I mean, because you're part of this show, but because you've played at St. James's, your interaction in the Northeast as well. But one thing that did astound me this week is, and he's only played 15 minutes, is Bruno G obviously has signed and he's come with a lot of fanfare for Newcastle. And we're all delighted and really can't wait to see him play when the time's right for Eddie. So my friend sends me a picture this week on WhatsApp. He says, have a look at this. Granddad's had a tattoo. And this grandfather's had a tattoo, a big, huge, full-length sleeve of Bruno on his
Bruno
arm.
G, yeah.
Just only in the Northeast. Absolutely brilliant. Don't forget, everyone, after the show, for you guys, you can head straight onto our Facebook page, which is Hollywood Balls Live at Sporting Chat Hollywood Balls Live. Straight after the show, queue up, because we are giving away your airtime and, of course, cash prizes. We're also giving away TFC coins, which will lead to your NFT and ballers. Kev, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, so I wanted to show you. We do have, by the way, a Geordie Pete baller. Have you seen it? Well, you've probably seen it on Twitter. Was delighted with this one because I was sifting through. The guys at TFC said to me, so you've got to pick your own baller, blah 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 blah. I said, I've found just the one. There he is in the black and white.
Love it. What's his name, Pete?
That's the thing. That's what George asked me last week. I can't remember I think he's a Croatian player. Right. But the only thing I'm not digging is his red and white boots. But I'm sure we can do something about that. So ballers.
Don't worry about it. He's wearing the stripes, Pete.
He's wearing the stripes. So ballers. I think they've sold out 1 and 2. Great for them. So guys, don't forget, straight after the show, head over to our Facebook page and you can get your airtime and your cash prizes courtesy of moi, Geordie Pete Redding of Hollywood Balls. Okay.
Can I just say, I will be tuning into the air commentary for Gateshead today. Don't worry. I'll be going by my local coffee shop by the lake, listening in like I always do.
It'll be a bit different in the high street though, won't it, Charlotte?
Yeah. Oh, so much more classier than the high street.
There won't be I'm going to give my age away here, mind. But there won't be a Bimby's fish and chip shop knocking about where you are, I would imagine. Good stuff.
I even know what you're talking about.
There you go. See, I told you I was giving my age away. Bimby's on the Gated High Street was a famous fish and chip shop. Moving swiftly on before I become completely embarrassed by today's youth. Kev, other standout game for me is Sunday. It's Leeds Man United. Absolute classic, isn't it? It's sort of even the most non-committed fan will be tuning in because it's such a massive rivalry between the two, isn't it?
Massive rivalry, and it's another 4 helicopter job. That one, I'll tell you. With United going across the Leeds, it's going to be high tempo. It's going to be high energy, and it's going to be a lot riding on it. Manchester United need to win. Leeds need to win. It's all set, and you know what? It's going to be white hot in that stadium, Pete.
Super Sunday, definitely Super Sunday. If Leeds don't get a result, as teams around them are, they're getting sucked in, aren't they? I mean, that was Everton's worry until that brilliant performance last weekend. They've moved away again, but if Leeds get beat again, they're definitely going to be looking over their shoulder.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they have to now anyway, because they've been on the wrong end of some serious results. So if you're not winning, Pete, and you're getting into the business end of the season, you're going to be in that mix up to be relegated. And they can't get their injuries fit quick enough, unfortunately. So Bielsa has to try and pull a masterstroke. And you know what? What a better way to get everybody buzzing than to beat Manchester United at Ellen Road.
Absolutely. Charlotte, tell us who are the Heed playing this weekend?
𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗍.
At home?
It's a derby, yeah.
Is it at the International Stadium, is it?
I think so, yeah. I think they're playing at home.
So if you're watching from Gateshead, get along, support them, Heed Army. Mike Williamson's still in charge, right?
He is, yeah. He's doing a fantastic job. Him and Busted, doing a fantastic job.
Great stuff. Good luck to Gateshead. Good luck as well this weekend to all the other teams that Hollywood Balls are in connection with. That's Berwick, that's South Shields, Jeff Thompson and all the boys there. Kevin Phillips as well, of course, going along well there. We'll have news and updates from South Shields very soon for you. Looking forward to that. Was going to ask Andy Gray his thoughts on Crystal Palace and Chelsea, but he's been Unised. That's going to be the catchphrase.
He texts me, Pete. He messaged me. He said, it's not working from my end. So I said, it must be Eunice. And he's put loads of laughing faces. So
we'll work it out.
Time. Yeah, we'll get
the Crystal Palace fans wanted to grab him. So many legends have played for that club, Kev and Charlotte. You look at Brighton Wright and Andy Gray. His stats alone, in his first spell, he played 92 games for the club and he scored over 35 goals from central midfield. What a player! Great career. And so I can imagine, Kev, you know him well, that he's got some fine tales.
Because he used to play striker as well. That's why he was so good at finishing, Pete. Because he used to play up front with the striker. But obviously his engine and his work rate, and he had that tenacity in the midfield as well. Do you know what I mean? That Charlotte looks at, getting close to people. He was very good at that. So that's why he played mid.
So he dropped back when Brighton Wright came to town, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he moved back. Yeah.
Worked well. What a team. Pardew was playing in that team as well, Alan Pardew. As Crystal Palace fans reminded me, his 87th minute header against Liverpool, the equaliser, will go down in folklore. Hopefully, we'll get him on really soon. Kev, I want to stay with you because it's time for our Baller of the Week. You've been missing for a fortnight, so have you got a hero from the football world this last 7 days?
Yeah, I have actually. I mean, this was a close one for me, but I'm gonna choose Bernardo Silva at Manchester City. I mean, his first goal was absolutely sensational. Ended up scoring 2. Could have got a hat trick easily, but for one being chalked off, Pete, he's my Baller of the Week.
9 points clear, City going into the weekend. Tried to sign Harry Kane 4 times, according to Pep Guardiola. Probably 150 million well saved, because it looks like they're storming to. Before Liverpool fans absolutely hammer me, I'm just saying what is factual. I can't see City giving up the title, but we will see. Charlotte, have you got a Hollywood Baller of the Week for us from the world of football?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a female footballer. I'm going to go for Millie Bright for that volley this week.
Yeah,
it was absolutely fantastic. And I mean, her performance was just amazing. She's the type of player that I like as well, getting in people's faces.
Great stuff.
I would love a 1v1 with her.
Hit her!
No boxing gloves allowed, Charlotte. Come on.
Damn,
yeah, That reminds me, cracking fight on tonight, by the way, if you're a boxing fan. Watched
Yes.
the press and the build-up yesterday between Messrs. Khan and Kell. That looks a bit tasty. Kev, you going to watch that?
Oh, Pete, I'm gonna watch that definitely.
10 years in the making, by the way.
This is a real grudge match. This is a real grudge match, and it's gonna be bouncing again for that fight.
Give it that to Manchester United and Sheffield. So a bit of there's double Pennines behaviour on this weekend. As you say, those copters could be out in force, couldn't they?
Oh yeah. It's gonna be a night of helicopters and a day of helicopters in Leeds or tomorrow.
Great stuff. Listen, it's that time of the week again where we're up for. Charlotte, welcome to the madhouse for this, because it's super competitive, but it sounds like you're just the right person to be super competitive in this competition.
Perfect.
Kev writes the scores down because he doesn't trust nobody, is what he says. So it's the time where we get into the predictions. Got to congratulate George. George won last week at 5 points, 2 correct scores as well. Danny Kwang finished second. So we're in to this week's DK Hot Sauce Premier League predictions. Ladies first, as always. Charlotte, for you, West Ham against Newcastle. Give us a score.
I'd love to see us win, but I think it's going to be 1-1. I think we're going to get a late equaliser.
Good stuff. I'd take that now. Snap my hand off and give me the point. Super Kev.
I think there's going to be goals in the game. I'm going 2-2.
Okay, Desmond for Kev. I've gone the same, Charlotte. I've gone 1-1. In the house today, we've got Samantha Shepherd. Ian's in as well. Who else is in? Gary. Gary Brown's in from the 2. Nice to see you, Gary. Hope your score prediction's right, by the way. Barry Robson from Sunderland is also in the house. And Martin Craig. Too many to mention, too many to take in, because we've literally had the most that we've ever had. Got to say shout outs to Tony Manuel, Lee Cosgrove, and Jace Edwards as well. We've got your scores and we will calculate them. Okay, so Samantha's gone 2-0 to West Ham. Ian's taken a 0-0 draw. Gary Brown's taken 2-1 to the Toon. And Barry Robson's taken 2-0 to West Ham. And Martin Craig, Man City, has taken 2-1 to West Ham. Okay, back with Charlotte. Palace, Chelsea.
I'd love to see Palace win, but I think Chelsea are going to take a 3-2.
3-2 goals there then. I've gone 2-1 to Chelsea as well for an away win. Kev?
I've got the same, Pete. I've got 2-1 Chelsea.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Palace to get something.
Yeah, it might be a stretch today. Sam's gone 2-1 Chelsea. Ian's gone 3-1 to Chelsea. Gary Brown's taken 2-2. 3-0 to Chelsea for Barry Robson and 2-0 for Martin Craig to Chelsea as well. Okay, back with Charlotte. City and Spurs, all the best.
Oh, you know what? It's either going to be like a low score draw, or City are going to... I'm going to go City 3-1.
Yeah, it's going to be Sunday roast, Kev. As my dad likes to call it, City 3-1.
Plenty of roasties. Go on.
And they're at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think
if it was away for City, I think it would be a different story.
It could. It could be.
Well,
but I think City are 16 at home.
They've got a bit of revenge on their mind, City, after the first game of the season at Spurs. Spurs beat them 1-0. So I'm gonna go 4-1 City.
Giving them one, eh? Getting kind in your old age, Super Kev. I've gone 4-0.
I know.
4-0 City for me. Samantha's gone 3-0. Ian's taken 2-1 to Spurs. He must be on that hot sauce, I think. A bit early for all that. Gary Brown's taken 4-1 to City. Barry's taken 4-0 to City. And Martin Craig, Man City fan, has taken 2-0. Gentleman that he is. Okay, Leeds Man United, all-out war, Charlotte.
I think Leeds have it, I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0
Great
Leeds.
stuff.
Wow.
I'd love to see that. I'd like to see that.
I think we all would, to be honest with you.
Kev, what you got?
That's why I said it.
There tends to be a lot of goals in these games.
Yeah, I know.
Away from home. Listen, I'm not saying United aren't that convincing, but I think they're going to shade this, Pete. I think they're going to shade it 2-1.
Okay, and just to put a right sort of downer on it, I've gone for a 1-1 draw. Samantha's gone one worse. She's taken 0-0. Ian's gone 2-0 to Man United. Gary Brown's taken 1-0 to Man United. 2-0 to Man United for Barry Robson. And Martin Craig of Manchester City has taken Leeds United 4, Manchester United 1. Good on Martin. Last up for the weekend, Charlotte, Wolves Leicester.
You know, I think Wolves have got it, but I like Leicester. Yeah, I think I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester.
2-1 Leicester. They need a result.
It
hasn't been great for them. Yeah, Super Kev.
I'm going 1-0 Wolves.
1-0 to the Wolves. I've gone 2-1 to Wolves. Samantha's taken ones each. So was Ian. So was Gary Brown. Wow. So was Barry, and so was Martin. 1-1 full house. Brilliant stuff. Can't wait for that. Give us a guesstimate then of when we can be reading about you back in action, Charlotte, just so that we can follow and obviously get the colours of your new team. Black and white, aren't they?
Black and white.
The girl's got the Switzerland to stay in black and white. That's how dedicated she is as a
Lovely, love that.
Tell you what, I'd love to be in black and white in Italy though, not Switzerland. Now that would be the dream.
We are going to monitor it because I'm sure there's a lot more to come and a lot more stories which we can all follow. It's been an absolute brilliant pleasure having you on the show. Finally, we got you on, and it's been well worth it. All we ask is that you'll come back on.
5th of March, first game back.
5th of March. Get that in the diaries. Looking forward to that. Again, all we ask is that you will come back on and keep us updated of how it's going, what the journey is, and we'll look forward to that. Kev, what's your weekend plan? Are you working? Are you footballing? Is the ball you playing?
Pete, believe this or not, as soon as I finish here, I'm being taken for a birthday lunch.
Good man. Good man.
2 weeks previous, my birthday was. But you know me, I'm dragging this birthday out. It's going to last about 3 months. So I'm going for a birthday lunch, and then I'm going to the game. Yeah.
Okay, great stuff. Stoke playing this weekend?
Yeah, Stoke v Birmingham.
Okay.
Midlands derby.
Midlands derby. Good luck to 𝗖𝗵 as always. Good luck to all of you and all of your teams. May the best team win and let it be ours. That's it for another edition of Soccer Saturday in Hollywood Balls. Thanks again to Charlotte. Thanks to Super Kev. We'll see you again next Saturday.
Thank you.